As I stepped into the dimly lit bistro, a shiver ran down my spine. The air was heavy with the scent of old wood, and faint whispers seemed to echo from the corners of the room. I hesitated, but my hunger pushed me forward. The hostess led me to a table in the corner, away from the few other diners scattered throughout the restaurant. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched as I perused the menu, but I brushed it off as my imagination running wild. As I waited for my meal, I couldn't help but notice the odd atmosphere of the place. The walls were adorned with antique paintings, their eyes following me wherever I went. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows that danced across the room. My food arrived, but my appetite had vanished. I picked at my plate, my mind consumed with the stories I'd heard about this place. They said it was haunted, that the spirits of the deceased lingered within these walls. Suddenly, I felt a cold draft brush against my neck, sending a chill down my spine. I glanced around, but there was no one nearby. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, but it lingered like a dark cloud over my head. As I ate, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I glanced around nervously, half expecting to see a ghostly figure lurking in the shadows. But the other diners seemed oblivious to the strange atmosphere, chatting and laughing as if nothing was amiss. I finished my meal as quickly as I could, eager to leave this place behind. But as I stood to leave, a voice whispered in my ear, sending a jolt of fear through my body. "Stay!" I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. I turned slowly, but there was no one there. I stumbled towards the exit, desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere of the bistro. But as I reached for the door handle, it swung open on its own, revealing the empty street outside. I stumbled out into the night, gasping for breath as if I'd just escaped the clutches of death itself. As I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that I hadn't been alone in that bistro. And as I glanced back over my shoulder, I could have sworn I saw a shadowy figure watching me from the window, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. As I stepped into the abandoned diner on the outskirts of town, a shiver ran down my spine. The once bustling eatery now stood desolate, frozen in time. Dust-covered booths lined the walls, and the air was thick with a sense of foreboding. I had heard whispers about this place, rumors of strange happenings and ghostly sightings. But curiosity got the better of me, and I found myself drawn to explore its eerie interior. As I wandered deeper into the diner, the temperature seemed to drop, and a feeling of unease settled over me. The silence was deafening, broken only by the creaking of floorboards beneath my feet. Suddenly, a chill wind swept through the diner, extinguishing the flickering candle on the nearest table. In the darkness, I heard the sound of footsteps approaching, slow and deliberate. Heart pounding, I turned to flee, but found myself rooted to the spot as a figure materialized before me. It was a ghostly apparition, its features twisted in anguish, reaching out to me with spectral hands. I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the clutches of the ghostly presence. But no matter which way I turned, it seemed to follow, its wails echoing through the empty diner. As I reached the entrance, I burst through the doors and into the fading light of day. Gasping for breath, I glanced back at the abandoned diner, vowing never to return. But as I walked away, I couldn't shake the feeling that the chilling tales of the diner were far from over. As I entered the elegant dining establishment known as the Last Supper, a sense of foreboding washed over me. The restaurant exuded an aura of mystery, with its dimly lit interior and antique decor hinting at a rich history shrouded in secrets. Despite the unease gnawing at my insides, I couldn't resist the allure of uncovering the haunted histories that lurked within its walls. Seated at a corner table, I glanced around the room, taking in the opulent surroundings. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls, and the hushed whispers of other diners added to the atmosphere of intrigue. As I perused the menu, my thoughts drifted to the rumors that had drawn me to The Last Supper in the first place. Legend had it that the restaurant was built atop an ancient burial ground, and that the spirits of the deceased still roamed its halls. Tales of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena had plagued the establishment for decades, captivating the imaginations of locals and tourists alike. Determined to uncover the truth behind the rumors, I had embarked on my own investigation, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. As I awaited my meal, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. A chill ran down my spine as I caught sight of a shadowy figure lingering in the corner of the room. Its spectral form seemed to waver in the dim light, sending a shiver down my spine. Summoning my courage, I approached the figure, hoping to glean some insight into the restaurant's haunted past. But as I drew closer, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind only an icy breeze that sent a shudder through my body. Determined to press on with my investigation, I delved deeper into the restaurant's history, uncovering tales of tragedy and despair that had befallen its previous owners. From mysterious disappearances to untimely deaths, The Last Supper had seen more than its fair share of misfortune over the years. As the evening wore on, I found myself drawn to a secluded alcove at the back of the restaurant. It was said to be the site of a gruesome murder that had occurred decades earlier, and the lingering energy of the tragedy hung heavy in the air. With trepidation, I approached the alcove, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, echoing through the restaurant like a chilling omen. I whirled around, searching for the source of the sound, but found only darkness staring back at me. As panic threatened to consume me, I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the clutches of whatever malevolent force haunted The Last Supper. With each step, the restaurant seemed to shift and contort around me, its once elegant facade melting away to reveal the true horror that lay beneath. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the nightmare ended. I found myself standing outside The Last Supper, the sounds of the bustling city street filling the air around me. Disoriented and shaken, I struggled to comprehend the events that had transpired within those walls. But one thing was certain: The Last Supper held secrets far darker than any I could have imagined, and its haunted histories would continue to haunt me long after I had left its cursed confines. As I stepped into the dimly lit sushi bar, a shiver ran down my spine, sending a chill through my bones. The ambience was eerie, with the soft glow of lanterns casting long shadows across the polished wooden tables. I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should proceed, but curiosity got the better of me, drawing me further into the depths of the restaurant. Seating myself at a small table by the window, I glanced around nervously, feeling a sense of unease settle over me like a heavy fog. The other patrons seemed oblivious to the ominous atmosphere, chatting animatedly and savoring their meals without a care in the world. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. As I perused the menu, my eyes were drawn to a particularly intriguing dish, the specialty roll of the dead, advertised as a chef's special creation. Despite my misgivings, I found myself ordering it, unable to resist the allure of the restaurant's macabre offerings. As I waited for my food to arrive, I became acutely aware of a strange presence lingering in the air. It was as if the very walls of the restaurant were whispering secrets to me, secrets that sent a shiver down my spine. I glanced nervously around the room, half expecting to see ghostly apparitions materializing before my eyes. When my meal finally arrived, I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I dare take a bite. But curiosity got the better of me, and I lifted a piece of the specialty roll to my lips, savoring the taste of the delicate fish and rice. But as I chewed, a wave of nausea washed over me, and I suddenly felt as though I were being watched. Glancing down at my plate, I recoiled in horror as I realized that the sushi was moving, writhing and squirming as if possessed by some malevolent force. Panic surged through me, and I leaped from my seat, knocking over my chair in my haste to escape. The other diners turned to stare at me in confusion, but I paid them no mind, my only thought to flee from this cursed place. As I stumbled out into the cool night air, I vowed never to return to that accursed sushi bar.